Right then, Manchester United have beaten Nottingham Forest 3-0, and it was easy, I think, is the first things to sort of mention. It was very, very easy for United in the end. And it was easy despite maybe, well, let's have a look. I thought Casemiro was the best player on the pitch by a country mile, and for the last 10 games or so, it's been that way as well. He's been a joy to watch. But Casemiro, I thought Rashford, Bruno, greater or lesser degree, Erik and Varane. So you look, maybe half the team really put a shift in. Luke Shaw didn't really put a foot wrong at centre half. A couple of times he got dragged out wide following a runner, but it didn't result in anything. But there was a couple of poor performances. I thought Wan-Bissaka was poor, Anthony was poor, Martial didn't really get going at all, Malacia hit and miss, and he basically was asking half the team to carry half of the team, and the man who did the most carrying by far, and I know it was only Nottingham Forest, so there's no one getting carried away here whatsoever, it was so easy. And this is why I might get carried away in a little bit of a sense, because Casemiro genuinely made it look easy. Genuinely. He made it look so easy. It was so straightforward for him. He's a player that, for those of you who didn't see Roy Keane, what everybody loved about Roy Keane is what people love now about Casemiro. He keeps it very, very simple. And keeping football that simple, that effortless, is extremely high level. And that's what Roy Keane was. He's exactly what Casemiro does. Knows when to smash someone. Ain't backing out of a 50-50 with no man. Keeps it flawlessly simple. I said to my old man halfway through the game, everything he does, you just go, yep. You know, that was the right thing to do. All the time. It's such an uncanny characteristic of a player. It's so rare to see just decision-making on that level. Ronaldo texted me and said, everything he was touted to be. And I actually disagree. He was touted to be finished. I don't think there's anything that he's been touted to be. If you listen to Graham Souness, and you shouldn't, then it was someone who was never been a great player. Hilariously. Honestly, Graham, that might be one of the worst takes I've ever heard about football ever, in all honesty. But I would say, in review of the game, I mean, he's just set up Fred there for the winner at the end, almost as a bit of a cherry on the top of what was, I thought, defensively a sensational performance, and even with the ball, a very impressive performance. Nottingham Forest was in the fight for maybe 20 minutes or so, and then United, with two quick-fire bits of magic out of Marcus Rashford, just completely dispatched them. Game over. The VAR decision thought they were back in the game for a second, and then they obviously were not back in the game after it was... well, I don't know if it was correctly or incorrectly. I haven't seen a replay of it yet since, so you guys have to let me know in the comments. Was it offside? Was it not offside? That was what it was given for. I assume it wasn't. I don't think it was a correct decision if VAR looked at it for as long as it did and then said no goal. But how long's Howard Webb been back involved in football? United are getting VAR decisions. Long may that continue. We've missed him. But yeah, I thought a very easy performance from United on what could have been a banana skin of a game. You know, Forest are fighting for their lives. They've picked up a little bit of points lately. The squad's had time over the World Cup to actually get to know each other after they bought so many in the summer. United go into the game playing three fullbacks. You know, the forward six was fine, as strong as we had to put out. But, you know, defensively, you're looking at Varane, who may or may not be fully ready. You're playing Luke Shaw at centre half against a big lad as well. It could have gone west. It could have gone west. So navigated it quite straightforward on to the next one, and that's what United have picked. You know, you've scored 3 goals, you've kept a clean sheet at home. On a day where I actually don't think there's been many upsets, has there, this week? But a day when there generally is upsets, you've managed to avoid one, so that's good. It's a bit of a hectic period now, right up until the derby, which I think is the 14th. Right, United have got a lot of football matches. Most of them are here. Wolves away, and then I think it's 4 consecutive home games. So hang on, I'm gonna turn the car on. There we go. 4 consecutive home games is going to be a bit of a bonus for us, because it might mean that we can actually rack up some points in front of the fans. Windscreen wipers are going here, let me turn them off. But I thought, tonight, solid performance. A really solid performance, and like I said, one that could have gone wrong for us, and luckily it didn't go wrong for us. Marcus Rashford, goal and assist. Probably could have had another assist. There was a phenomenal ball which goes to Bruno, cuts right through the line of a ton of Nottingham Forest players. Bruno had the opportunity to shoot, decides to give Anthony one on a plate. Anthony doesn't do the business with it, unfortunately. And I thought he was poor, Anthony, tonight. Match rhythm's probably a thing for him. He hasn't played a lot of football, unlike some of the ones that have gone to the World Cup. Bruno played, even Marcus has had the game last week under his belt. He does look sharp. But it could be a match rhythm thing, but he was genuine. Let's not avoid the subject. He was poor. Top and bottom of it, his decision making, contrast that to Casemiro, was fucking shite. And this is from early in the game. He was trying flicks, and you're like, it's 0-0. There's a time and a place for flicks. 0-0 isn't the time nor the place. And it's one of those, you accept that off certain players when it's coming off and they're being successful with it. But if they're not being successful, you're like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are you doing this? Anthony's probably fortunate that Sancho's in the situation he's in at the moment, because you keep putting in performances like that, you find yourself benched. Garnacho, you could see he was trying hard when he came on. He's probably going through that difficult period now where you don't just get to come and play because you're young. You probably got to now start contributing, and that's where a lot of players do start to struggle. The ones that have got genuine ability about them, they come through that and they go on and have great careers. But this is the period where Januzaj fell off. You have that promising little bit of start, okay, now you have to get on with the tactics for the rest of the team. Can you do that? So I would expect probably a bit more teething problems from Garnacho, but he's not expected to play week in, week out. So he's got a good chance of getting through it based on that. One of my mates just texted me as I was walking out, and he said, do you know what the biggest problem with Casemiro is? How do we replace the fucker? You're talking about one of the all-time greats of central midfield in the last, in sort of like the last generation, really. Factual. He's an absolute fucking tank. And like I said, his decision-making is joyous to watch. Genuinely joyous to watch. Just watch him and just go, fucking wow. And it's no surprise you see him at centre-half the other day. Yeah, has a good game. Just has a good game wherever you play him, because he's a fucking good player. Good players can play wherever you put them. But there you go, 3 points. Keeps the pressure on those around us. I think it was only Tottenham dropped points around us, wasn't there? Everyone else picked up points. Newcastle steaming there into second. Some big teams are going to miss out on top 4. Newcastle having no Europe when the rest of us have got Europe to deal with is a big fucking big plus for them guys. That's going to make it hard for the rest of us. So we got to start picking some fucking points up, because there will be some monster sides. Us, Chelsea, Spurs, whoever. Could be someone massive misses out on the top 4. I think if United get a striker, probably won't be us. See you in the next one.